Let's continue with the breaking news this evening that Andrew, the former Duke of York, will be stripped of his titles, so no longer a prince or anything else. He'll just be a regular British citizen.
The path to redemption has completely closed for Prince Andrew. Deprived of his royal titles, his reputation has sunk even lower following shocking disclosures about his troubling sexual misconduct, secrets that the late Queen Elizabeth was said to be aware of. Now, royal expert Dickie Arbiter has revealed startling new details about the fallen prince.
Things with Andrew were very minor and very few, but the odd occasion that I did have dealings with him, he was arrogant, he was rude, he was bumptious.
The royal family now faces a storm of unprecedented intensity, as Prince Andrew's scandal has left the monarchy grappling with both public outrage and internal tension. Once seen as Queen Elizabeth II's favored son, Andrew, now officially known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, has been stripped of all titles, honors, and military ranks, following a series of damning revelations about his alleged sexual misconduct and connections to Jeffrey Epstein, incidents reportedly known to the late Queen. Veteran royal commentator Dickie Arbiter, who served for over a decade as one of Buckingham Palace's most trusted insiders and press officers, has delivered a scathing assessment of Andrew, describing him as a bully, arrogant, and difficult to confront, based on first-hand experiences managing his often volatile behavior. Arbiter noted that Andrew's sense of entitlement and explosive temper made him nearly impossible to deal with, yet standing up to him carried personal risks. A warning sign of troubles that culminated in his disastrous 2019 BBC Newsnight interview and subsequent exposés, including Andrew Looney's revelations and Virginia Giuffre's memoir, Nobody's Girl, reigniting public anger over his long-denied connections to Epstein. For King Charles III, the choice to sever his brother's royal ties and evict him from the Royal Lodge, while offering a smaller estate residence and a modest annual allowance, was a painful but necessary act to protect the monarchy's reputation and integrity, reflecting the tension between duty and familial loyalty, and the promise he may have made to the late Queen to safeguard Andrew after her passing. Meanwhile, Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who had shared the Royal Lodge with him despite their 1996 divorce, is now establishing her own independent home, marking the first time in nearly 2 decades she has lived separately from Andrew while maintaining her title as Duchess of York. The move highlights both her resilience and the scrutiny she faces due to lingering associations with Epstein and the media's attention on the former couple's unusual, long-standing cohabitation. Prince William, in contrast, has remained outwardly focused on global initiatives, using the 2025 Earthshot Prize and COP30 climate conference as platforms to promote leadership, collaboration, and optimism, deliberately avoiding commentary on the family's scandal, emphasizing that change comes from collective effort rather than personal attention, and conveying to the public and his children that the future remains bright despite shadows cast by Andrew's disgrace. The palace's response, alongside Arbiter's assessments and historian Kelly Swaby's characterization of the actions against Andrew as brutal but necessary, underscores the monarchy's commitment to accountability. While internal sources suggest the decision involved months of deliberation, balancing personal loyalty, public expectation, and the pressing need to prevent Andrew's actions from overshadowing royal duties. Allegations outlined in Andrew Looney's biography, including claims of Andrew's repeated use of Buckingham Palace for illicit sexual encounters and staff awareness of such behavior, combined with reports of extraordinary incidents during overseas trips, have kept the public gaze firmly fixed on Andrew's misdeeds, even as the palace maintains official silence. Within this environment, William's careful navigation of media scrutiny, advocacy for climate action, and emphasis on long-term vision reflect a strategic shift toward purpose-driven leadership, contrasting with Andrew's fall from grace and Ferguson's adjustment to independent life. Her ability to manage personal finances, rely on the support of her successful daughters Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, and redefine her role outside the palace demonstrates resilience amid relentless public and media scrutiny. As the royal family contends with scandal, evolving roles, and shifting public expectations, Andrew faces legal and social consequences for decades of misconduct, while the monarchy seeks to protect its image and function. highlighting the complex interplay of privilege, accountability, and legacy within the House of Windsor, and raising broader questions about how far-reaching the consequences of one individual's actions can be for an institution so deeply embedded in tradition, public service, and global perception. Sarah Ferguson may be turning a new page in her life, but the shadows of her past refuse to stay buried. And whispers surrounding the Duchess of York continue to stir public curiosity. While some doubt she will write anything truly controversial in her anticipated memoir, others speculate she may seize the opportunity to share her perspective on the challenges she has faced and the new chapters she is forging. Over the years, those closest to Sarah have described working for her as a high-stakes balancing act, requiring loyalty, tact, and nerves of steel. According to Andrew Looney's searing biography, The Duchess, Sarah oscillates between confiding too much in those she treats as friends and responding with sharp anger when she remembers they are servants. Former staffers recount being swept up in her warmth one moment, receiving gifts, praise, and attention, only to find themselves suddenly reprimanded or disregarded the next. One insider explained, "It is all about power, dominance, and manipulation. She knows she does it, and that is literally how she gets her kicks." Her unpredictable temperament left lasting impressions on the royal household, with staff redundancies often following Andrew or Queen Elizabeth's interventions during her ongoing financial crises. Beyond the palace walls, Sarah's reputation for intensity and volatility has had far-reaching consequences, famously straining her relationship with Prince Philip after the 1992 scandal that prevented any reconciliation between the two, and reportedly complicating Andrew's potential plans for remarriage. Yet despite these controversies, Sarah has maintained her public persona as an engaging and warm-hearted royal, inspiring loyalty and devotion while simultaneously instilling fear and uncertainty. The pressures of scandal, media scrutiny, and palace politics have exposed the fragility of relationships within the royal circle, highlighting the influence of Sarah's moods and decisions on domestic staff, extended family, and even marital possibilities. Meanwhile, the wider scandal involving Prince Andrew and the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein continues to shake Britain and the world, escalating further as U.S. Congress demands his testimony regarding his decades-long connections to Epstein. A letter from the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, signed by 16 Democrats, including Chair Robert Garcia, calls on Andrew to provide clarity on his knowledge of Epstein's criminal network, financial transactions, and potential accomplices, with responses requested by November 20th, 2025. The ex-prince's alleged involvement, including repeated flights aboard Epstein's private jet from 1999 to 2006 and claims of sexual harassment of Virginia Giuffre, has drawn scrutiny across international borders. Giuffre's memoir and civil suit, coupled with Andrew's subsequent stripping of royal patronages, military ranks, and eventual settlement, illustrate the long shadow cast by Epstein's crimes, as the British government works to remove Andrew's last honorary military title of Vice Admiral. The U.S. investigation, now extending subpoenas to figures including Bill and Hillary Clinton, underscores the ongoing global resonance of the Epstein case and the intersection of power, accountability, and privilege. As Congress presses Andrew for answers, questions arise. Will he cooperate, or will the investigation remain shrouded in secrecy? Into this fraught backdrop steps former U.S. President Donald Trump, expressing sympathy for the British royal family amid Andrew's downfall and reigniting scrutiny over his own connections to Epstein. Trump described the situation as terrible and tragic and voiced personal concern for King Charles III and the monarchy following Andrew's loss of titles and duties. Recent revelations, including emails showing Andrew suggesting meetings with Trump shortly after Epstein's release, have fueled speculation about the king's decisiveness in evicting Andrew from Royal Lodge. Meanwhile, Epstein's recordings, letters, and interactions with Trump reveal a complex, controversial history, portraying Trump as charming yet morally ambiguous, with allegations ranging from sexual misconduct to social manipulation, and maintaining a spotlight alongside ongoing legal challenges, including the $83.3 million defamation case brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. Despite Trump's claims of political motivation and legal defenses citing Supreme Court-granted immunity, courts have upheld rulings against him, keeping the scrutiny in the public eye. In this climate, Sarah Ferguson navigates the fallout of her past. Prince Andrew faces potential legal consequences, and the monarchy grapples with public trust, transparency, and the weight of scandal. While the world watches the delicate balance of privilege, accountability, and survival within the House of Windsor.